talk shows Find Your Own Voice, led from within. With me today, Carol Ann and Rachel and Robin Snow. Please, Robin, introduce yourself to our audience, please.
So my name is Robin. I am the owner, director, and author of Glow Yoga Kids in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So we are a mobile kids yoga business. So we go into schools, daycares, we do events, birthday parties, all that super fun stuff. And we share yoga and mindfulness with kids. Super, super fun. I also like to mention that I have a cat, and she frequently comes across my screen and likes to, completely cover my face sometimes during videos. So keep an eye out for her as well. Carol Ann?
Yeah, it's lovely to see your cat joining us. And yes, so as the writing facilitator, what I do is I support women in becoming more productive with their writing by helping them to connect with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within and getting their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within. Are you muted, Nomsa? Because I can't hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann and Robin. Rachel is still in my head. I nearly said Rachel. And so our topic today is how to stay in the present moment in everyday life. And I chose this topic because it is very, very important of us to be in the present moment, so that we can take control over our lives. And there's something that I'm doing at the moment. So I just realized that every time I try to be in the present moment, there's something that pulls me away. So I have to bring myself back to the present moment. And there's something like the past is something like maybe that happens in the past is trying to pull me away to the past, or is something in the future. So I'm trying to, instead of living in the future or living in the past, I'm trying to be here in the middle and just say I'm gonna be in the present moment. So I don't know, Carol Ann and Robin, when you saw the topic, what did you think?
I loved it. It's like, it's really what we're talking about most of the time. In whatever topic we talk about, we end up talking about this very thing, about being in the moment. And I heard you say that word trying, Nomsa. Could I request that you just drop that word from what you're saying and just say, I'm
the
being
present
present.
moment.
I'm being pulled away from the present.
I'm being in the
Yes,
moment.
I'm in the moment. Yeah,
I'm
because
here,
actually
in here.
trying, yeah, there is no try. You either are or you're not. And again, it's the key is being able to recognize that being pulled out. And that's what I'm hearing that you're recognizing when you're being pulled out. Because actually, the more you're present, the more there will be things attempt to pull you away. Because it's like there's something in the universe that goes, okay, here, have this. I'm testing you. You know, you say you want to be present. Well, how about this? And our mind very often will just bring in something. So the key is recognizing when you're being pulled away and not making it wrong. And then have some tools or techniques to bring you back into the moment. And that's, there's lots of things that you could do, which we can share as we go through this talk. But certainly it's something that's very powerful and very important to stay in the present moment. So I thought, yeah, great topic, love it. What about you, Robin?
Yeah, I love it as well. I mean, obviously, in my field of work, like present moment awareness is super important and something that we talk about quite often. So I definitely feel like I could share some things today in regards to that. That being said, and I feel like I always do this to you guys, and I apologize, but I'd love to play the devil's advocate as well. And so, as much as I teach present moment awareness, and as much as it is super important, it's not easy. And, you know, it's something that's a constant, something you constantly work on. At least for me, you know, most people would be like, oh, you're a yoga teacher. You've been doing it for so long. You meditate all the time. You're probably present all the time, which is just definitely not the case. So, yeah. So, I mean, I feel like I can shed a lot of insight on the one hand of like, yes, it's important. Here's some tools. Here's some things you can do. But number two, in the other side, that it's okay if you're not always present, and you know, some of the things that I've experienced that maybe would help people feel a little bit better about themselves in those moments when they're not, you know, feeling the most present, or their body jumping, or they're you know, yeah, essentially. So I'm gonna leave it there, and I'll just let Namsa continue right now, and I'll go into it in a bit.
Actually, can I just follow up there, because I love
Yeah.
that there is this expectation because this is a field you know, it's part of what you do. There's an expectation that you're always present, and you're so right, Robin. It is constant work. It's something you have to work at. It isn't something that's just you're present all the time, because there are things that pull you out. You know, you drift, things happen, and so it is constantly working at it, and it's being intentional about working on it and being able to recognize and pull yourself back each time. And something that's really brought this home to me is how we zone out to things. Was I was watching the film The Matrix the other day with my granddaughter. My two eldest daughters have said they'd like to watch The Matrix with me. It's like, yay! So I was watching it with my eldest granddaughter the other day, and I was actually focusing on the music. I decided at this time I wanted to focus on the music and the type of music, and, you know, really listen to it. And I became aware of actually how, when I started listening to the music, I was hearing something different. I was actually aware of that it was instruments, and what the music was doing to me. And I also became aware of actually how unaware I was of the music when I'm just in the film, you know. So that was a really great exercise for me to sort of keep bringing myself into that present moment of something that is used, because music is very, really evocative. And I became aware of how clever it was at bringing you into the scene, because I kept thinking, well, actually, if this music wasn't here, all that would be happening is those actors doing what they're doing, saying what they're saying, and I would probably be feeling absolutely nothing. Whereas the music, it drew you in, it had you in there, you know, and I became so much more aware of that. And it just enhanced the whole experience for me of watching that movie, and helped to teach me something and what I'm looking at, because my second eldest granddaughter is actually studying music and creating and writing music for movies. And so when she listened to it, I realized I said to her, were you aware of the music? She said, oh yeah. And she said that she was aware of actually how it was instruments and it wasn't synthesized. So for her, it was quite interesting. And we're going to compare each of them. And then with the latest Matrix, which came out at the beginning of the year, when we listen to that one again, I'm going to start listening to how the music was created and what the sounds are with that one. But it was an interesting exercise to do, but certainly made me much more aware of how we zone out to things, but the impact it has on our emotions and being pulled in. So yeah, that's what I was going to say, that it was hearing the little whispering sounds that started with the music that brought you in, and you could feel yourself thinking, oh, something's about to happen, you know. So it's almost like the music is words, because it is that, oh, something's about to happen. And then it, you know, something builds up. It's just, but having that awareness, as I said, it's taught me something else as well. So I just wanted to share that with you. But certainly, Robin, it's constantly working at it. And as I said, that watching that movie and attempting to focus on the music, have me realize how much I zone out to what's actually happening fully, you know. So anything, where do you want to go from here, Nomsa?
That, Carol Ann, that's amazing. I love it. So my camera is not clear. I don't know why. I opened my camera, so it's open 2 cameras. So I don't know what's going on. If I switch off that one, this one goes off. So that is creepy. So I don't know. It's never done that before. So I love that, Carol Ann, that you actually, when you're listening to the music, I love music. I think I've got how many? I think I've got 6 or 7 earphones in my place where I am right now. I love music. In the bedroom, I've got 2. Wherever I go, there's always music. I love listening music, like doing exercises, but not as deep as you do. I just listen to the music whenever I feel like drifting away or drifting. Or it's like right now, we are arranging this summit. Every time I see that there's people that I worked with in the past and they start coming back now and like, Nomsa, would you like to do this with me? I'm like, not at the moment. I'm working with somebody else, not at the moment. So I'm having to not to be pulled back. So I'm having to stay focused. Even when I'm having to deal with one person. I've learned to deal with one person. Wherever I'm doing something, I need to focus with one person, because that person, if I tell you the dream, what I'm doing from the beginning, they'll understand where I'm going. And if I ask someone else to say, okay, this is what I'm doing, they're not going to understand the present moment. If I've been with them in the past, they're not going to understand what I'm doing. So I'm trying, not trying, I'm being in here, because mind is sometimes our thoughts can take us to, they can explore to different mountains. And if you're not careful, they can take you to a dangerous one, or they can take you to a good mountain that you can just climb very easy. So I'm staying here in this mountain I know I can climb this mountain, even if it's hard, even if there's fear. I know I can climb this one. I know the future, that there's an ending in mind, how I want the future to be with my life. So I'm living here in the middle, in this present moment. Is it easy? No, it's not easy to live in the present moment is not easy. So if anyone that can say, no, I'm staying, and I find really, I would love the secret. For me, staying in the present moment and being aware of my thoughts and not splitting me up to go that way or that way. It's like I've decided to do this. There's some people that are tempting me to do something like, no, I want to stay here. I want to stay here. This is the choice that I've decided to do. I want to stay here. Just hold on. And so if anyone has tips, or Robin or Carol Ann, if you have tips, or anyone who is watching, they have tips to say, Nomsa, I'm staying in the present moment. And I find it really, really easy to stay focusing and stuff. Please give me some tips. And I get help from the meditation as well. Meditation, it does help to stay focused as well, instead of unfocused between different things and things like that. So I'm looking forward to see where the topic is going to take us.
Yeah, I was going to say what Carol Ann had said about the act of coming back to present moment after you've been away. Like, that's a classic meditation as well. Like, people often realize or often think that in meditation you need to be completely clear-minded and there can't be anything else going on up there, but it's actually that act of recognizing when your brain's gone for a minute on a tangent or a thought or whatever, and bringing it back to your breath, or bringing it back to the focus on whatever it is. And it's very similar to present moment awareness as well. Considering especially that present awareness is really just mindfulness, is really just being mindful in your everyday experience. One of the ways that I try to incorporate mindfulness and present moment awareness on a regular basis is when I find myself in a mundane activity, because this is usually the time where we zone out and we're completely out of our bodies and we're not actually like in whatever's happening. For example, for me, it's the dishes. So I can at least be mindful for the dishes every day. I know that I'm working on it, and it'll start to creep into other areas as well. Especially when we're feeling good and we're feeling loved and we're having a good time, we're usually really present. But it's those mundane activities, those consistent things that you have to do, laundry, dishes, cleaning the house, whatever, where we zone out because we don't want to actually be there doing that. And so instead, really focusing on, hey, I am washing this dish right now. I can feel the soap in my hands. The water is warm. Oh, I missed a spot. Just really thinking and like putting all of your, almost like narrating all of your energy into mundane activity, so that you can really focus on what it is that you're experiencing. Because like I said, it can be really easy during those activities, especially, to just jump out of your body and not be there. And on top of that, I mean, this is something I've been working on recently that I really struggle with. It's not just about the activities that we're doing where we're being present, but it's also about being present in your own body as opposed to other people's bodies. And let me know if either of you struggle with this as well, because it's definitely something I've been working on, is my need to, and I call it body jumping, is my need to body jump and assume that I know all the thoughts and feelings of the people in my life. So instead of focusing on how do I feel right now? What is my body feeling? What is my mind feeling? How am I taking whatever information is coming at me? Instead, I focus on every other person and I jump into their shoes and I think about how they might be reacting or how they might be feeling. And so that is a really hard thing to work on, because I feel like I'm constantly thinking in other people's brains, which is not present at all. And so, just noticing those nuances for yourself, I think, is really important. Recognizing that, yes, mundane activities, we need to be more mindful. We need to, maybe focus more on that, but also recognizing that it can just be related to other people as well, that it doesn't necessarily have to be like an activity of sorts. I have more tips, but I'll just leave it there. I'll pass it on to Caroline.
Okay. I love what you were saying about mundane activities that your mind just drifts. And sorry, there is something I just like to bring in, because actually daydreaming and dreaming is an important activity for us to do. Allowing our minds to actually drift and wander and dream is important. And so for me, it's allowing yourself to do that and have moments when you can do that, and then bring yourself back again. And it's recognizing when you've gone and then bring yourself back. But with activities, I mean, when I'm cooking, for me, I find it's a wonderful place, because my mind just, it goes off on tangents. I find myself thinking about things and planning or being creative, and it's sort of, there's a dream comes, but I am also somehow present to what I'm doing. So for me, there's a connection, and I do allow myself to do that. So I think it's allowing yourself to do that, and maybe have moments where you say, well, no, I'm going to let myself have this moment of daydreaming, or allow myself just to be pulled into letting my mind drift, sitting in the garden in nature and just looking up at the clouds, being aware of the clouds, but then let your mind go and then bring it back again. Because it gives you that contrast of your mind being away and drifting and then coming back again. And that actually heightens our perception of in the moment, because we actually learn by comparison. So if you actually don't know what drifting off and just letting your mind drift is like, and you're not aware of that, you're not really then aware of in the moment. So it all comes down to awareness. And it's this beautiful dance. And it's being in the dance, with the dance, and letting that dance happen. But when you are present to this, you actually then have that control over what's happening. So certainly, yes, mundane activities, we find ourselves drifting away. And if you're not careful, this is where sometimes you can make mistakes. And this is where sometimes accidents happen. But I always say there is no such thing as an accident. It just means you were not present in that moment to what you were doing. Because if you were, it wouldn't have happened. And I know I've had this argument with my grandson many a time. He said, "Oh, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault." And I said, "But you weren't present." "Yes, I wasn't." I said, "No, you weren't. You weren't actually present to what you were doing. Because if you were, it wouldn't have happened." And it's such a, what's that? How can I explain it? There's almost like it's your fault feeling that people get. But it's not about fault. It's about recognizing that actually you weren't present. And I started doing that with myself whenever something has happened and I've realized I've knocked something over. And I've realized in that moment, I was not fully present to what I was doing. Where my hands were, where the object was that I knocked over, I was not present. My mind had drifted. So it wasn't an accident. All it was I was not present. And when you can own that, and recognize it. That's where the power really is. But yes, certainly give yourself permission to dream. Because if we stop our dreams, we shut down to something, our creativity. So again, it's having that awareness. What do you think, Nomsa?
I love that when you say when you drift away, you have to clear. Did you say clear the cloud?
No, I said if you're looking up at the sky and you see
Yeah,
the clouds, just let your mind drift
drift.
and then bring
Okay.
yourself back again to the clouds. So it's having that comparison of knowing when you're drifting and then coming back to the present moment.
Okay, that was my prayer this morning actually, but I was doing it the other way around, just clearing the cloud in my present moment, just clearing the cloud that is clouding my path, my stars, because everyone has 7 stars. When your stars are clouded, then that means your success is clouded. So you need to clear all that for your success, so you can move forward. So I was wiping away. I was asking God to wipe away every cloud in my stars, so I can be in the present moment. And I like Carol Ann, what you said. You have to allow yourself to daydream. And bring yourself back when you daydream. Bring yourself back. There are some people there are some people who have an idea of their life, how it should look like, and they don't daydream. They daydream, but they don't bring themselves back to actually evaluate their lives. They stay. It's like more like they are hypnotized by the air, whatever is going on in the air. They're hypnotized. They are walking by sleeping. I don't know if you have ever been in that moment where you can't think properly. You are alive, but you don't feel, just feel tired, and you can't do anything. So I just call it being hypnotized by the air, like energy, where Robin was saying, you feel like you're jumping into somebody's body, and like wondering what everyone is thinking. And I like it, what you said, Robin, that you have to be mindful on your present moment. And it's very, very, very important to be aware of what is going on. I never used to do that, but now the more I meditate, the more I pray, I just find myself like bringing myself into the present moment and just looking at my life, and um, making the day go the way I expect it to be. If it doesn't go the way I expect it to be, and then tell myself that I'm in the now, and be grateful of what has gone right, grateful of whatever problems that is presented themselves in my life. And when you do that, it take away stress, because we all have expectations in life, how our days should look like. And then when those expectations are not met, what happens? We lose hope, and we don't want to do anything anymore. It's like, what is the point? So for me, what keeps me going, what keeps me be in the present moment, is having to come here to Gossip Talk shows, knowing that somebody is listening to my talk, just one person that I can empower, and knowing that I'm surrounded by beautiful people like you guys. And that's beautiful for me. That it gives me hope. And also, and looking at my life, where it's been, and I'm like, yesterday I was like, some thought came into my head, and I was like, if I was to meet my creator right now, he would tell me that I am a selfish, selfish cow. So I was like, okay, thank you, thoughts, and I'm gonna send you away. Thank you, negative thoughts, but I'm good. I'm good with where I am right now. So I had to thank my thoughts, and I had to allow myself and just evaluate, like Carol and what you were saying, evaluate where these thoughts was taking me. And then I was like, no, I'm gonna bring myself back now. I've had enough of this and negative thoughts, and I'm gonna bring myself to the positive one, and I'm gonna be grateful to God for what He has done in my life and for the person that I am today. So that is where your comment comes in, Robin, where he says, "Be in the present moment." So I didn't allow my thoughts to jump into something else. I just wanted to focus, to stay focused. So the act of coming back. Thank you, guys. So I'm gonna put that on my computer. The act of coming back. So every time my thoughts taking me somewhere, I'll bring myself back.
Yeah,
Over to
100%.
you.
100%, Nomsa. And Carol Ann, I love what you said again about allowing yourself to daydream, because, you know, I don't think I was clear before when I said that, like, you know, mundane activities, try and be mindful. There obviously we want to have those moments. We don't want to be constantly trying to focus all the time. I think it would be really, really exhausting to constantly be doing that. And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of the time we do live not present. And so I guess my point was that in those moments where you have that extra time and you literally are doing a task and it's not really something you can multitask with, trying to be mindful in those moments and letting yourself, you know, be fully present in that. I think a few more tips that I'll just share is, you know, throughout your day, just noticing. So, you know, maybe you've spent the whole day really, really busy or focused on whatever, or multitasking or doing whatever you do because you're a strong, independent, amazing person. But taking that time to be like, okay, stop, look around my space. What sounds do I hear? What things do I see? Right? Taking a moment to just really take in your surroundings. It doesn't need to be long, right? But just like having that almost like full body check-in throughout the day, because I don't know about you guys, but when I'm really busy, it's like the whole day goes by and I don't even know what happened. I like don't even know how I'm feeling or anything because I've been so busy. And so taking those moments, even if you set like a timer for yourself every few hours or something, if you're having especially a really busy work day, taking the every few hours to take a few deep breaths or observe the space around you is going to be really, really powerful. The other one I'll mention is, and this one is a hard one for a lot of people because we've been conditioned, especially in our society today, that multitasking is the way to be successful and to complete all of the projects all at once. However, one, there's a bunch of studies that say that multitasking is really, really bad for you. And number two, it also creates this very out of body experience because it's like every possible field is being lit up and it's impossible to be mindful when you're literally juggling 1,000 things at once and trying to complete them. I find for me, this can be really hard because when I have ADHD, but also I'm like constantly trying to do lots of things and complete lots of things, but it never actually works. I have a lot of things that I start and then it takes me forever to finish them because I'm multitasking so much. And I can't actually, you know, just start and finish a project. So trying to focus on one thing at a time, I think will also help to be more present. To check in. It also builds confidence because once you complete something, you'll feel really good and be ready to take on the next thing, as opposed to just having lots of things on the go all the time. Gratitude is another great way to be mindful and present moment. I mean, like I had mentioned already, when we're feeling good, when we're surrounded with people that we love and we're having a wonderful time, it's very easy to be present because that's where we want to be, right? And so, and that's because we're showing gratitude for what it is that we have in our life versus doing something that you don't want to do, or, you know, maybe you're working and it sucks, or you're really busy or something like that. So finding those little gratitudes in the things that suck can also be really, really powerful as well, because we're naturally going to feel grateful in those really happy moments, but finding, you know, the gratitude and the appreciation for those things that you don't feel good about is also a great way of being mindful and in the present moment. Lastly, I'll mention kind of the acceptance piece. So when you think of, I mean, Namsa mentioned it at the beginning where she's like living in the past or living in the future, right? A lot of the time we do that because we have not fully accepted the situation that we're in. We're like, oh, I wish it was like this, or I still feel shame about this, or you know, in the past it was better, in the future it will be better, or whatever that looks like. And so we're constantly living outside of the present because we don't like the situation we're in. And so having this kind of radical acceptance of your situation, recognizing that it's okay to want things for yourself and to keep pursuing things, of course, and bettering yourself every day, but also being aware that like you're also good and content where you are, and you can be content where you are, is super important as well. I think a lot of people forget that the past and the future just don't exist, right? Everything exists in the present moment. There's no, even moment to moment, as we're moving through, the next moment doesn't exist yet, right? And it can completely change and transform and all of that. And I feel like if you start from present moment and you really focus on that mindfulness aspect and kind of accepting that, yes, I'm grateful for the life I'm in and all of that, that everything will work out the way that you want it to as well. When we have this to future mindset focus or past mindset focus, it can really steal our joy in the moment. It can really take away the peace and the love and the gratitude of everything that's going on in our life currently. So anyways, that's where I'm going to leave it. Carol, you can continue.
I love it. I love what you were saying. There's a lot there, and certainly it does take away your joy and your peace. And actually what Abraham Maslow says is the ability to be in the present moment is a major component of mental wellness. So being able to bring yourself present, because if you're not present, then yes, you're either in the future worrying about what might happen, or you're in the past chewing over and concerned about what has happened. And quite rightly, as you said, Robin, neither exist. One's already happened and gone, the other hasn't yet happened. All there is right now, this very moment. And it is literally going, it's this moment and this moment and this moment. That's all there is. And it's actually the decisions that you make in this moment that impact what will happen to you in the future. So that's something, that's the cause and effect. So what you do right now is what creates what will happen to you in the future. And so it's remembering that. And actually, I love what you were saying, Nomsa, about feel like you're hypnotized. Our own words hypnotize us. We hypnotize ourselves. And literally, it is a hypnotic state that we find ourselves in. And it's like, come on, wake up, wake up. And something that I trained in many years ago, and I've now been using again since January. Each day I listen to some tracks, and it's to do with, it's called the listening program. and it's a 15-minute music. It's three 5-minute tracks. And what they do is they just tweak the ear muscles, and it just tweaks your brain such that it's helping your brain processing. And it's about listening to the music. It's not about doing things as the music's going on. It's about listening to the music, listening to, is it moving? What are the instruments? Where are the instruments? And it really helps you to start focusing. But also, it helps to improve your brain processing abilities in lots of different, activities. And so I'm finding that is helping me to be more focused, to wake up, to be more conscious. Because I realized once I started doing this work on myself and training in the various complementary fields I've trained in, I realized how asleep I was all my life. And the only bits that I remember are when I was awake. It's like, oh, that's why I remember it, because I was so awake. But I was asleep. I was always dreaming. I was always thinking about the future and what I wanted or what might happen. And I was never fully in the present for most of my life until I started doing this work. And now it's like, oh, okay, I feel much more present. And it's a different place. So, and actually that's what the Matrix is about, is waking up. Waking up, this, you live in a dream, wake up and become present to what is actually happening, what is real, what is reality right now. And what you do right now can then impact your future. So I love what you said, Robin, about checking in with yourself and just doing body scans. Because yes, it is so easy to be pulled into worrying about what other people are feeling that you miss out on what's happening for you. And again, that is a form of not being fully present. So keep checking in, check in through the day. What's happening? What am I thinking? Do a body scan. Just take a moment to literally go through your whole body and feel into it. Think, just be aware of what's happening here, what's happening there. That's my arm. What's it feel like? Well, that's the other arm. Go through the body. And again, that will help bring you into the present moment. Is there any tension? Breathe into it. And then just let it go. Does that tension have any words? Explore it. Does it have words? Has it got a colour? Has it got a shape? And the more you explore it, breathe into it, and just let it go, it will shift and change. Because anything that is observed will change its behaviour. It has been scientifically proven that anything observed changes what it's doing. And there was something else that was going to come from that something that you said, Nom, so that I wanted to say, but it's oh yes, the clouds. When you say you had clouds and you were clearing the clouds in your heart and somewhere else and asking God to clear them. Something else you could do before you ask them to be cleared is maybe explore them. What is the nature of these clouds? What do they look like? What do they feel like? Have they got a texture? Are they moving? Are they still? And then explore them, and then ask if it's got a message, if it's got any learning for you, if there's something it's come to show you that maybe you need to do before you can move on. And then, yes, put up that prayer to God to help to to move the cloud, having learned what it's there to teach you so you can move on. So work with it, because sometimes we attempt to push things away, it'll only come back again because you haven't heard what it wants to share with you. And it may be just a fear that, oh, no, you can't go there, no. And it's maybe an inner child who's got some fear that hasn't been fully addressed. Address it and let that inner child then grow up with peace and happiness and joy, because then you'll be fully present and it will then drift away. It won't come back in the same way. So sometimes just, again, and that's another form of being in the moment, being present, because sometimes we fight what's going on. So recognize the tussle, the fight, the attempt pushing away, and stop. Bring yourself into the moment and really explore it. Give yourself the time. And I love what you were saying, Robin, about this multitasking and doing one thing at a time. For somebody who is very much perhaps in the creative part of their brain, they love to have lots of things on the go at the same time. And actually attempting to force them to focus on one thing at a time can actually create stress in the body. So it's about doing activities that bring both hemispheres of your brain together, allowing for you to move from that creative hemisphere to the more logic, single focused, time bend, got to get this done and finish it, rather than, oh, I've done this, no, let me move on to something else. It's bringing the two together such that you can then finish something. You feel comfortable in just focusing on just that one thing for a moment. And then, right, what else is there? And sometimes, if you've got a lot of tasks on the go at the same time, they do feed each other. So sometimes it is allowing yourself to recognize, well, how is this helping that project? And how is this one helping that project? And recognizing where they're supporting each other. Because that's what I do. I know I have lots of things on the go and I'm thinking, oh, well, actually, I can use that in that project now because that works together. So it is being aware of where you're being pulled apart and where you could just say, right, no, let me just focus on this. And one activity you can do is just do some cross crawl. So just standing up, lifting up one leg and taking your other hand over to meet it. And then the other hand. And even if you're sitting down, you can do it. And just bringing, and it's just making each side of your body communicate and work together. And then say, right, I want to focus on this one thing today, or in this moment. Let me focus. And give yourself permission to put the other things away, but you will go to them. You'll say, no, I'll come back to you. Because I think sometimes there's a concern, oh no. So yeah, play with it, have that dance. So I'm very much somebody who is advocating. You always hear, you've got to focus on one thing at a time. You've got to focus on one thing at a time. Recognize when that actually stresses you out. Because if you are a creative person, that will actually stop you from moving on. So find ways of being able to just focus on something, but allow all the other things to happen at the same time. Acknowledge that this is how you work and you want to bring something to fruition. How can you do that? So there are lots of tools, techniques. As I say, this is a brain gym activity called cross crawl. That just helps to bring both sides of your body working together and focus. What do you think, Robin, on that? Have you got thoughts there?
You
Yeah.
muted, Robin?
Sorry, I think I was muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, I love what you said. I feel like, yeah, I mean, again, I feel like totally you're right. Totally you're right with everything that you're saying. Very, very much on point. That, you know, when you're multitasking and all of that fun stuff, that it really can create stress on the body for someone who's a natural multitasker to change and switch up, of course. But I feel like, again, that act of, like you had said, bringing yourself back and checking in and doing all of those things is still a super, super important step for everybody. You know, regardless of what it is that you're dealing with, and you know, whether you've been dealt something like ADHD in my case, or like anxiety or depression or whatever that looks like, you know, it's going to be hard, and it's going to you know, if you force it all at once, it will definitely create stress in the body. But I think being really focused on just taking those moments is really, really crucial, because overall being present has so many benefits, so many benefits. You know, that act of bringing things back, and that act of just being in the present moment in general, it really contributes, one, like I mentioned already, to our overall joy, but also to, you know, our energy levels, our motivation. It makes us a better listener and a better partner or a friend to the people in our life, because we're not away when we're talking to them. You know, especially, you know, and this is something that I've definitely struggled with in the past, because with ADHD, you have, even when you're talking to people, you completely can zone out and not be in the conversation at all. And I've had to really recognize those moments once I notice that it's happening, and bring myself back, and, you know, be able to be honest about that as well, and work on that, and continue to work on that so that I can better my relationship. So I'm not saying that, again, it's an easy thing, but it definitely is something that will help you be a better person to those people in your life. On top of that, it grows self-esteem. It makes your body stronger. Any kind of meditation. I'm not sure if you guys heard this study before, but 50% of people who meditate actually have increased gray matter in the brain. So they actually have the gray matter of like a 25-year-old versus everybody else, maybe who doesn't meditate, that has, as you age, your brain becomes more white matter, starts to almost like crystallize. And so, which is why as an adult, it's harder to learn new things. We kind of get stuck in our habits, that sort of thing. It becomes a little bit trickier, right? When you're a child, super easy to learn how to play the piano or learn a language. But when you're, you know, older, it's like, this is going to take me forever. So meditation, mindfulness, being present moment will actually increase the gray matter, and it will start to be easier to learn new things and to try new things, and to, it is true. It's a true study, and can actually really help you. So yeah, I think, again, just finding those moments where you can be mindful and present, taking them for what they are, and also recognizing that every path to present moment is not the same. And so, you know, if you have ADHD, or if you're a multitasker, or whatever that looks like, maybe those aren't the moments that you choose to be mindful, because it's very hard, or creates stress in your body, or whatever that looks like. but maybe you choose other parts of your day that you can take those things on, right? So just recognizing that every path is different. It's okay. If you're not, sorry, what? Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry, carry on, not Robin. I think she was talking to somebody else.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Talking to my daughters, they're disturbing me. They're at home.
Okay, sorry.
I'll be happy when they go back to school.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
They go back to school next Monday.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
no worries. I'll just mention a couple last little things. I talked about body scans. In my opinion, this is one of the best ways to be mindful, or at least in my experience, that it's been the easiest for me to do, because again, it's not about like clearing the brain or anything like that. It's really just focusing on sensations in your body and the way that your body feels in that moment, really just connecting to your body. And lastly, I'll mention something that I recommend to everybody, because I think it really helps to make us more present, is limiting / taking a break from social media. Social media is lovely. It connects us. It helps us with business. It's super lovely to see everyone's things, but having those constant notifications pop up in your phone or on your computer it literally is the easiest way to take us out of the present moment and to pull us over whatever is going on over there. So even if one of the things that I did not too long ago was turned off my notifications on my apps, so that I choose when I want to go on and review and look into things. People know that they can call me if they have an emergency or something like that, but all my notifications are off. So I choose one part of the day where I go on social media and I double check all my stuff, and then I put it away again and keep the notifications off so I can be more present, because I'm definitely a slave to that thing. And I know that a lot of people are as well. And it can be really hard to stay present when that's in your field all the time. So that's my last little piece of advice there. I don't know who wants to carry on.
My notifications are on. I've actually disciplined myself not to go on my social media by asking myself what's important. So if I know what's important to me, I just go on social media in the morning and I like and comment people's posts, and for me that's it. And if I go on social media, that means that there's someone who is doing live like in the day, or if someone who is doing live that I like, or then I'll set up my phone and then I can check them out. So that's fine, because if I'm watching their live, that means I'm learning something. Other than that, it is difficult to actually discipline. It takes time. If I'm used to it now, I don't, even if I see messages pop up, I don't get attracted to them. I just look at them and I'm like, oh, okay. And for me, I'm just gonna live with this. Robin, you were saying about doing multitasking and things. For me, what works for me is looking at the things that are important, like every day that I'm doing, that I need to do. If I'm doing 2 or 3 things, I have to make sure those things have to be finished before I can move on to the next task. Yesterday, I think I spent time, I even fell asleep, I think for 10 minutes, because I was trying to work out the software and it wasn't working. So I had to take a break and just like, okay, I'm just going to sit here until my mind starts working. So, and then it started working, and I ended up finding secret about how people get loads of views on their social media. I was just sitting there and browsing with this software and trying to work this out. And I was like, what the heck is that? So I was like, so that is the secret. So I was like, I'm confused. So I was like, oh, okay. So that's why So I spend so much hours. So sometimes it's nice to complete the task and not confuse yourself. Like what Robin was saying, that she's used to multitasking, so you have to be somebody that you coach yourself to do that, so you can actually move on and complete your task. I don't leave the task unfinished. I have to make sure that whatever I'm doing is complete. If I have to go back to it, I go back to it and finish, because there are some people that they will start something and they don't finish it, they move on to something else. For me, I used to be like that, but I've trained myself to be in the present moment. If I start something, or even if I do 2 or 3 things at the same time, like Robin was saying, I have to make sure those 3 things I'm finishing them, not leaving them behind. And it also is important to use the future. If you want to use the future for writing, like your journal, like it has happened. I use the future like that, write in my journal. And I use the future, the past, when things are not going well. And I have to look back and say, God, where God has put me through. And I have to look at the present moment. Then it helps me to realize that actually I can climb any mountain as long I'm willing to keep going. So that's how I use my past, my future, and my present moment. And my present moment, I use it to stay focused on whatever I'm doing and stay focused with my mind, because I've realized I've been hypnotized. 10 years ago, I realized I was hypnotized for a very long time. Now I stay in the present moment. So when you see me, like if I'm walking on the street, I've got my best friends. These guys are my best friends. These ones, they are my best friends. I've got earphones, they are my best friends. I'm carrying them. And honestly, on Amazon, I like games, like you've got earphones that are expensive. Me, I'm a tester. I buy them for £20. Earphones like £400 or £500. I test them for £20. So that's how much I love my music. It brings me back to the present moment. Honestly, I always look at the tester and be a tester on Amazon. I love it. So just bring yourself in the present moment. Over to you, Carol Ann.
Oh, that's lovely. You test it. That's brilliant. So there's a few things I'd just like to follow up. There's something that Robin was saying earlier, and just like to re-presence it. And it's something about bringing yourself, just saying what you're doing each moment. So something that you can do to presence yourself is just saying to yourself, now I am, and whatever it is you're doing. I'm chopping this potato. Now I am sitting in this chair. So you can actually talk yourself through where are you? What's happening? So I think that's something to take on board that will help you. And the other thing that you could do is, at the end of the day, conduct a mindful review of your day. So going back over the day, thinking, well, what did you do? How did you feel? What were your moods through the day? So again, it just brings you into that present moment and presents you to how you were through the day. And then there's two quotes I'd like to leave you with. The first one is, if you want to conquer the anxiety of life, live in the moment, live in the breath. That's by Amit Ray. So come back to your breath, your breathing. What's your breathing like? And I think, Robin, you mentioned about breathing and focusing on your breath. And that's something that's helped me over the last few years with my breathing. And when I sort of got anxious, and I've literally been focusing on what's my breathing like right now. Where is it I'm breathing from? Is it down in my ear, in my diaphragm, or is it up here? And that's helped me to just be present and work through the anxiety or what's going on. And then finally, we often think we don't have time. We haven't got enough time to do anything. Deepak Chopra says, life gives you plenty of time to do whatever you want. Sorry, I'm going to start that again. Life gives you plenty of time to do whatever you want to do if you stay in the present moment.
It's true. I feel like there's another quote I was just thinking about when you said that was, what is it? If you, or it was like meditate 20 minutes every day. And if you don't have the time, meditate for an hour. because it's so true, right? It's like, it's because you're not prioritizing it, right? You're not prioritizing that mindfulness piece. And so you need it even more than anybody else because you're not focused on it. So yes, I love that. I love that. Deepak Chopra is such a great person to listen to and feel into. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't have much else to say on this topic. I feel like my final, words are just, again, that, follow your path to it. Not one way works for everybody. Do a little bit of research on it, whether, you do it on your own or you seek out a professional or whatever that looks like for you. But really, really simple ways, like we talked about, just connecting with breath, coming back and recognizing the things in the room, and just having that almost like a little flag in your body, or you can put up a Post-it note or something like that as a reminder of like, tune in again. Like every time you see it or every time you hear something or you notice that you're starting to think too much about what other people might be feeling, that can almost be like okay, it's time to wake up. How are you feeling? What is going on for you? And like I said before, easier said than done. So just be gentle with yourself and the journey. Don't expect that because you're struggling that you're doing something wrong, because you're definitely not. And that's kind of, I think that's how I'll leave it. So do you have anything else?
No, just there's a book actually, I think is with the breathing exercises. It's called Find Your Voice. Find Your Voice. I think it's for musicians and music, like playing and doing training, and it's got loads of breathing exercises, and they do help out a lot. They do help me to stay focused when I do them, so it does help. So I think that's it for today, everyone. Gossip Talk Shows family, those who are watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, and we are here Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. And please, if you want to find your own voice, lead from within, get in touch with our coaches. You can find them on social media, or you can go to my website and get in touch with me, and I'll connect with whoever coach you would love to connect with. And live with grace, everyone, and God bless. Have a lovely weekend as well. I forgot the important thing, you guys. I love you. Have a beautiful weekend.